y'all, so what's going on? Welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we are talking about my makeup brushes. Not my client kit, that's a totally different thing. My personal makeup brushes. Alright, so over here, these are literally all the brushes that I have. I got this container here from Amazon. I want to say it was maybe 20 to 25 bucks. And in the first container here, this little compartment, hold on. So in this first compartment here are all eye brushes. In the second compartment, all face brushes. And then the last two brushes over here, these are some more eye and face brushes. These brushes I rarely use unless it's Halloween, I'm doing something creative, or I just happen to need an extra brush over there. So this is all of my personal brushes that I have for myself. My brushes for my client kit, that's a whole separate thing, but this is all that I have. And honestly, just these first two sections here are all that I use. Okay, first things first, if you don't take away anything from this video, please hear me when I say this. You don't need a lot of makeup brushes. I know, again, with consumerism and the brands and the beauty gurus and everyone on YouTube, oh my gosh, you need this. Or my favorite is when I'm watching YouTube, because I'm a hardcore YouTube watcher and I'm watching all these beauty channels and they have all of these makeup brushes and I'm kind of like, well, that's interesting to me. And I get it, you know, you have to test and try different things, of course, when you're reviewing. Totally understand, that's a job. I get it. I think about it this way. I'm a makeup artist and I don't have that many makeup brushes. What is the purpose of having that many brushes? The thing is, my main reason why I don't keep a ton of makeup brushes for myself, I hate cleaning them. It is the worst thing. I typically pay one of my nieces to do it just simply because I don't like it. So the more brushes you have and you collect, it's just more crap for you to clean. Also, I feel like when you have a smaller collection, it's going to force you to clean your brushes more, because I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, this is dirty, let me just get a different one. Oh, that's dirty, I don't feel like cleaning it, let me get another one. So this is my collection. My collection is not expensive. I have found what works. That's something else that's really important too. Just because something is expensive or high-end don't mean that it's good. There are so many affordable brands out there that work way better than higher end brands. So we're going to start it off from the face and we're going to work all the way down to the eyes. First thing first here. Foundation. I don't use foundation brushes on myself just simply because I feel like it's harder, it's streakier. When I'm working on my clients, I can use a makeup brush. I feel like I can blend it better, but for some reason on myself, not so great. So I prefer a sponge. This is a Real Technique sponge. By the way, all of my brushes that I'm showing you are dirty due to me just using them to create the look that I currently have on at the moment. So, quick money saving tip. I was sick and tired, okay, of spending $20 on a beauty blender. Beauty blenders are great. Beauty blenders are phenomenal. Yes, they last a long time, but every time I had to repurchase one, I was getting so pissed. So I told myself, you know what? No, I'm not buying another one anytime soon. I probably will, you know, sneak my way in, probably for Sephora VIB over the spring. I'll probably buy one then, but I have not had a beauty blender, I want to say, since maybe Christmas time. In fact, it was after the Huda Beauty incident. For some reason, I couldn't get all of that foundation out of the sponge, and I kept using it and I kept breaking it out, so I just tossed it, and that one was fairly new. So the Real Technique sponge, is the quality a little bit different than the beauty blender? Absolutely, but it still gets the job done. You can get 2 in a pack. I believe it's maybe 10 to 11 bucks. This will last you, I think you can probably get a good, maybe, I don't know, 2 to 3 months out of it, just depending on how well you take care of it. Does it rip a little bit faster? Yes. However, me personally, I felt like also, I don't know, something with the beauty blenders changed. I don't know if it was just mine. I know my one that I was using before, I felt like it was ripping and I was getting really, really upset because I hadn't had it that long. So I was like, this is expensive. Why is it ripping? So if anyone else has noticed or thinks the quality of the beauty blender has maybe changed just a touch, let me know down below. So I use this for if I am wearing foundation. I haven't worn foundation in a minute. I don't wear foundation like that. I do powder, but definitely for my concealer, this is what I've been using to blend things out. So after my concealer, I need to set it just depending on what I'm doing. I will set my concealer with the sponge too, so I'll dip it in some translucent powder and powder it all over my face, or I will take this Eco Tools powder brush. Don't sleep on Eco Tools, okay? I have some of their flat foundation brushes in my kit because I needed some extra ones. I had a big job and I didn't have time to clean as I was going. I got some of those, came through in the clutch. It was perfect. I've been using this powder brush for almost a year now. I clean it, it doesn't break on me. Eco Tools is one of those brands that's cruelty free, natural, so you know you don't have to worry about any of that stuff there, and it's nice and fluffy and it does not shed on me. You can get this from Ulta. The next brush that I have here, this is probably one of my favorite brushes. If you don't get any brush, get this one. This is the Real Techniques setting brush. So it's super, super tiny, and I love this because if I need to set my concealer, I'll take this and just press right up under the eye. It's so perfect. I love this in my client kit too because I feel like I can strategically get up under the eyes, down the center of the nose, and powder any little area. So this brush is probably my favorite, Balm. The next brush after that, this is another Real Techniques brush, and it is marketed as a blush brush. I stopped using it as a blush brush and used it as a bronzer just simply because I like the way that it applies my bronzer. That's the cool thing about brushes. You know, they can say, oh, this is a powder brush, this is a blush brush. Yes, that's what it is, but if you want to utilize it and get more bang for your buck and use it for something else, you can 100% do so, not a problem. Since I like the way that this brush applies my bronzer, this is what I use. It was more tapered, but since it's so worn out, it's not as tapered, and I just go in and place it on the sides of my face, my hairline, my head. Of course, with bronzer, a lot of people like for their brushes to be big and fluffy. This is just my preference. I was using this as blush, but what I realized was sometimes I felt like it was getting a little too much blush on. So that's when I started using this brush. I have no idea where this brush is from. As you guys can see, like, it's used and abused. It's falling apart. But this is a tiny little brush here, and I use this for blush just simply because I can get it more precise on my cheeks. I feel like sometimes if a blush brush is too big, especially if you have a smaller face, you'll just get like this explosion of blush on your face and it doesn't look good. So for more control with your blush, try using a tinier brush so that way you don't have to worry about it getting all over your face. Especially you don't ever want to get your blush too far low, because if you get your blush too low, it's going to drag your face down. You want to make sure everything goes up, back, and snatched, okay? So of course you can always do the 2-finger rule, 2 fingers from your lips right here. Your blush shouldn't go any further down than that. This next brush here, I kind of snuck up on me. This is a Morphe 530 brush. I like to use this brush for contour. So what I'll do is I'll dip it in my ABH contour powder and turn it on the side, and it works perfectly. I will say this though, and I say this about Morphe all the time, I love Morphe eyeshadows. This isn't their eyeshadows. I know everyone's kind of hit or miss when it comes to Morphe. I don't understand to this day why people get so bent out of shape about the brushes. It's like you pay $3 for a brush and you're gonna be ticked off that it's shed. And again, I get it. It's because you're probably watching your favorite beauty influencer and they're like, hey, use my Morphe code, get 10% off, whatever the case may be. And they're pushing and pushing and pushing these brushes, and I get it, get your money, I hear you. And so I think that's where people get upset, where when you see one of your favorite people pushing a brush, you get it and it sheds, but you also got to keep in the back of your mind, this is business, baby. These people are trying to make money. Also, you're thinking, well, dang, how can I trust you if you told me this brush is great and I get it and it sheds? You know what I mean? So I don't have an issue with their brushes because in my mind, I know it's a $5 brush. It's probably gonna shed. This is a $5 brush. Does it shed? Absolutely. I find that Morphe face brushes shed way more than the eyeshadow brushes. However, I'm really, really careful when I do wash it, just simply because it will kind of fray out on me, and I feel like after you wash it, that's when it sheds really big time on you. However, it's just a contour brush. On the sides here, I can get real precise, makes it easy, no big deal. My next brush here, again, I have no idea where it's from because My blush brush and my highlighting brush, my fan brush, are, I want to say, about 3 to 4 years old. Yeah, just your fan brush. And if I'm doing highlighter, I will use this as well. Something else that you can do with the fan brush, you can apply your bronzer with the fan brush. I do that a lot on my clients, especially with my very, very fair skin clients. I'll take Hula Light. And you have to be super careful, especially when you are working with someone with fair skin and you're doing bronzer, because a lot of bronzers will pop off so orange and muddy. I recommend to any of my fair skin clients that ask me about bronzer, Hula Light is the way to go. So I'll take a fan brush, and the fan brush doesn't pick up so much bronzer. So if you're worried about, oh my gosh, it's gonna pick up and get too muddy, because of course the first place where you initially put it down, that's where you're gonna get the most pigment. However, the fan brush, I feel like, picks up just enough so you can kind of swirl it in, and then you can bronze your face accordingly. Balm brush. That's all my face brushes. So for my whole face, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 brushes and 1 sponge. This is it. Boom. All I need. Moving on to eyes. So let's talk about the first 3 brushes here. My first 3 brushes I call are my workhorse brushes, because these are brushes that I also keep in my client kit, and I know I can do a solid eye look with just these 4 key brushes. The first brush here is MAC 224. This is their blending brush. Now I know MAC has changed their brush hair to synthetic hairs. I haven't bought any MAC brushes in a long time, so I'm not sure if the brushes work the same. It's MAC, so I would think so. However, please keep that in mind. If you do go buy one and you're like, Amber said this was great, I bought it, it's crappy, it could just be because they're doing the synthetic hair now. Again, I'm sure it's fine, just putting that out there. However, the MAC 224 blender brush, Balm, I use this to apply things in the crease. I use this to blend out anything. Again, this brush is, I know, 3 to 4 years old. MAC brushes are solid. I feel like, for me personally, when I invest in my brushes, I invest in my eye brushes, just simply because I do a lot of eyeshadow, and especially when I'm working on my clients, this helps me to work so much faster. It's precise, it holds up, it doesn't shed on me, I can get the job done quickly. So MAC 224. And then the next MAC brush here, again, this one's also 3 to 4 years old. This is the MAC 217. This is a tightly dense brush, so if I want to get on the outer corner, or if I need to get a little bit more strategic in the crease, and for buffing and blending, this is a great one as well. And then this one, this doesn't have to be an expensive brush. This one is a MAC 247. This is just a flat brush, and I believe this is actually a crease brush. And when I went, I said the wrong number, and they gave me this one. I didn't think anything of it till I got home, and I was like, oh, that's kind of big. But again, one of those situations where you can take another brush for something else and use it towards another part, and use it towards something else. So this is the flat. I use it as a flat brush, and I will use this to pack on eyeshadow. I will say, if you do have a smaller eye set, you want to make sure you get a smaller packing brush. Otherwise, the product's going to go everywhere and you're going to have a hard time trying to get it on your lid. And then the next brush that I have here, this is a Morphe brush. It's a Morphe pencil brush. The name is ripped. The name is gone. It's rubbed off. Pencil brush. Get you any old pencil brush. I love this one because I can get in the waterline here, I can get in the inner, I can get on the outer corner if I need to get in the crease. I love using a pencil brush to make sure I get right in here into my inner tear duct. Balm, perfect. And then this next Morphe brush here, this is a newer brush that I've got by them. This is the M441. This is, the hairs are longer, but it's dense. So what I like to use this for is if I need to clean up on the outside, let's say if I got too messy and I just need to really, really blend something away, I'll take this brush and kind of go on the outside. This is going to help get rid of a harsh line. The MAC 224 is good as well, but since this one is a little bit dense, if you do have maybe like a really hard solid line, what I like to do is I'll take this brush and maybe dip it in a little bit of translucent powder and just kind of swirl until that harsh line is gone. Boom, good to go. And then of course, you need yourself any kind of angled brush. Angled brushes are good, especially if you're doing any kind of waterline shadow, or if you like tight lining in your eye, perfect. This is a Morphe brush, but I don't know because one of my animals chewed it, so I don't know which number it is. Again, any old angled brush will do the trick. And then the last brush that I have here, this is for if I use my ABH Dip Brow, the pomade. I love ABH, but I just cannot bring myself to buy their dip brow brush, the one that looks like, you know, with the spoolie, then the other end for the product. I'm sure it's good. I believe that brush is like $22, and for some reason I just can't bring myself to buy it. Maybe one day I will, but I found the dupe for it. This is the Ardell brush. I get mine from Sally's. Works perfectly fine, and it's no more than $4. So on this side here, have a spoolie, and then on the other side here, if I'm using dip brow, this is what I use for my brush for my brows. And then I need help. So if you guys know of a good gel liner brush, I have been struggling with a good gel liner brush for a hot minute now. I'm not a fan of gel liner on myself. I never use it. I don't like crazy, I'm just not into wing liner, period. But on my clients, I use gel liner just simply because it's more sanitary. So if you guys have a recommendation for a good gel liner brush, please drop it down below. And that is going to wrap up my eye brushes. Super, super easy, affordable, not anything insane. Now, do you need all these brushes? That's gonna depend on you. If you're someone who does not wear eyeshadow, or you're not into eyeshadow, you can probably skip out. Or if you're someone who doesn't do a lot of blush or bronzer, skip out. Again, always customize everything that fits your lifestyle, that fits your needs. I am not the end all be all. I am not the makeup savant. I'm just sharing with you what works for me. All right, guys, so thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of the comments you guys leave me. I love having conversation, girl chat, makeup chat with you guys. Thank you so much, and I will see you in my next video. Peace.